11 Tracks of Whack, Walter Becker, released 1994. The story goes that supermodel Rosie Vella was recording her first solo album Zazu with Gary Katz, former Steely Dan producer. At some point, Walter Becker wanders into the sessions. He likes what he hears and is asked to contribute some guitar to the proceedings. Walter then suggests that his old buddy Donald Fagen would be ideal to add in some keyboard textures for the songs. This highly unlikely reunion inspired the dynamic duo to start sporadically writing together again. 1993, Fagen releases his second solo album, Kamakiriad, which has Walter producing, playing guitar and bass. 1994 rolls around and the unthinkable, the unbelievable has happened. The Dan have reformed and are stunning audiences and critics alike with their brilliant live show. Walter then decides the time is right to put out his own solo record, and he asks Donald to return the favour and produce that record and provide some keyboards. 11 Tracks of Whack was released to little fanfare, but had a few positive reviews, but really unspectacular sales. Back then, I think a lot of rock fans were unaware of exactly what Walter did in Steely Dan. Donald Fagen looked the main man. He sang, the way he put the material over, all those great little nuances, the humour, the hooks, those great melodies, and you could well be fooled into thinking it was Don who wrote most of the material. Yeah, what exactly did Walter do? He said in the recording of Pretzel Logic that after employing Chuck Rainey on bass, there was no need for him to bring his bass to the studio anymore. They say he switched to guitar, but with all the great stellar guitar players that Dan used constantly, what did he contribute there? Also, the title of the album, 11 Tracks of Whack. Whack is slang for rubbish, something unpleasant, and the cover is just a blurry picture of Mr. Becker. The whole thing kind of smacked of a throwaway record, some rich rock star's indulgence. But for many years, Walter Becker had fed us red herrings and completely underplayed his contributions to those classic Dan records. He played some superb bass and rhythm guitar, and when he considered the music needed it, magical guitar solos. With a wink and a smile, he's saying to us, get past the jokey title, get past the seemingly cheap throwaway cover, and I'll show you exactly what I can do. 11 tracks? There are actually 12. Walter Becker. I wanted the emphasis on melody and bass lines, and not too much in the way of chording. I decided to use a minimalist approach that would enable me to focus on the overall thrust of the song, rather than get bogged down in harmonic complexities and ornaments that I feel had become irrelevant. Over the years though, I've learned any time I read a quote by Walter or Don to take it with a pinch of salt, because this album does display all the craftsmanship and craftiness of those great Dan records. You have the key changes, you have the shift in harmonies, the jazzy chord progressions, the chromatic harmonies. You even have a bass clarinet solo. How many rock records of the last 20 years have one of those? And of course, the sly, sardonic, irreverent humour. Walter did face the daunting task of becoming a lead vocalist for the first time. Walter Becker, I had to spend a great deal of time coming up with a vocal approach that I liked and that suited the material. Track 1, Down at the Bottom. For many of these tracks, Walter decided to go with his original demos, and these would form the foundation of most of the material, and then what he'd do would layer instrumentation on top of these. For track 1, Down at the Bottom, you get an insistent drum machine. This can sound a bit dated, but don't let it put you off, for this is a magnificent opener. I've seen many interpretations of these lyrics, but this is my grasp of what the song is about. The singer meets a fellow junkie, the guy, I guess, who turned him on to heroin. In case you're wondering, it's alive and well, that little habit that you left with me. Here in the suburbs, where it's hard to tell if I got the bear or the bear got me, the bear being dope. How did you know that it would take me down to the bottom of the wine-dark sea, where you were waiting to bring me round, where you knew all the dopest cuts to be? Yeah, I like the feathers and I love the hat. Yeah, I like that little gypsy tune you're humming. Yeah, I guess I'm happy now we had this chat. Oh yeah, I'm really glad I saw you coming. There in the corner of the eastern sky, the tortured angel of your rising sign darkens the evening with his one good eye, an evil omen of the dopest kind. Down at the bottom of the wine-dark sea, that drifting cocoon-like world, the twilight world of addiction. Walter's bass hits you right in the gut, while on lead guitar he plays one of those loose, languid solos that he loves so much, which at first can sound inconsequential, but on repeated listens you just want to hear it again and again. In the background you get some atmospheric synth washes, courtesy Mr. Fagan, but Down at the Bottom could fit easily into any Steely Dan record. It's full of those strange hooks and melodies that they did so well. Track 2, Junkie Girl, a song about a junkie who sells her body to support her habit, sung from the perspective of her lover, who despite the addiction loves her more than ever, should never ever sound this good. But it does. In the good old bad part of this college town, men in business suits, they run you down. You take their money just like you take mine. You send it bubbling down the thin blue line. It doesn't matter how it got this way, 'cause we could make it through this thing together. I know you're laughing, but I got to say, I still want you, maybe more than ever. No fooling, it's a fucked up world, so be cool, my little junkie girl. But as his lover drifts off into another drug-induced stupor, he decides he has to go. Now I can hardly hear you any more. Your eyes are empty and your voice is hollow. I see you waving from a distant shore, and where you're going I don't dare to follow. No fooling, that's another world. Good luck, my little junkie girl. Walter's rhythm guitar playing is simply a masterclass in how to add light and shade to a song, while his fractured bluesy solo over a weird chord progression is pure genius. Track 3, Surf and or Die. This is a song Walter wrote for a friend who died in a hang gliding incident. It's something that David Byrne, Talking Heads and Brian Eno would come up with. There's no melody, no chorus, just Walter singing over sharp angular guitar chords and a funky bass line. The song finishes with what sounds like Buddhist monks chanting. In a strange twist of fate, Walter's friend, Randy California, the man who taught Walter how to play blues guitar back in Queens, New York in 1966, would die in a surfing incident not too far from Walter's home in Maui, just a few short years later. Track 4, Book of Liars, which is another gem of a song, and Mr. Becker's world-weary vocals suit the piece down to the ground. It's basically a song about a guy who finds out his girlfriend is a massive liar, and there are 3 verses: disappointment, disillusion and resignation. Verse 1, 'Cause I came so long and I came so far to find out you're not always what you say you are, and there's a star in the Book of Liars by your name. Verse 2, disillusionment. It's about Santa Claus. He ain't no hero, he's like all of us. He gets drunk on Christmas wine and falls down like we all do in the driveway. Verse 3, resignation. But then the world's much larger than it looks today, and if my bad luck ever blows me back this way, then I'll look in my Book of Liars for your name. You know I'm going to look in the Book of Liars for your name. It's storytelling in the tradition of the great American songwriters. Book of Liars' groove is slow, silky smooth. It's late night jazz. At 1 minute 52 seconds in, Bob Shepherd steps forward and takes a solo on sax, and he captures the mood of the song perfectly. As that solo comes to an end, Donald Fagen enters on an almost discordant workout on electric piano. Steely Dan would feature this song in concert and included it on their album Live in America from 1995. On that 1994 tour, the more Walter performed Book of Liars, the more you could see his confidence growing, and as the dates went by and the time passed, he was giving a spellbinding performance on that song. Absolutely brilliant. Track 6, Hard Up Case. This was another song that Dan played live back in 1994. Very few white guys can authentically capture a reggae groove, but Walter Becker absolutely nails it. It has a fantastic horn chart from Donald Fagen, and this sets up an irresistible groove. And the icing on the cake is another awesome guitar solo from Walter. 11 tracks of Whack is quite simply a great record. The only downside for me are those programmed drums. I know Walter had a lot of problems trying to finish the album, so I guess at the end of the day they went with these basic tracks as he thought they were the best. Elsewhere we have tracks about a reincarnating hobo, an alien from Arcturus 37, The Hat Too Flat, and a song to his son, Little Kauai, which is the 12th track, so there's nothing much whack about that one. The last track on the album I want to have a look at is My Waterloo. Walter Becker does scar. My Waterloo could have come straight from the Specials or the Fun Boy 3 songbook. It even has a synth line which echoes the Specials' classic Ghost Town. Meeting My Waterloo is to be defeated by someone who is stronger than you, or by a problem that is too difficult to surmount. This song, I guess, is about a lonely guy who is fixated on a much younger woman. He knows his obsession is ultimately pointless. Therefore, she is his Waterloo. The track features a mocking, almost sarcastic guitar motive played on a talk box, something Steely Dan used to great effect on Haitian Divorce. Dean Parks played that solo, but this I didn't know. Walter Becker added the effect afterwards. He ghost played the whole solo, note for note. So there you have it. 11 tracks of Whack is a great record, and if you like Steely Dan, it's a must-have record. But I'll leave the last words to Walter Becker. I wear my heart upon my sleeve, a sight you must have surely spied by now. For sure, Walter, for sure. Thank you for listening. Please stay safe, stay well. Please like the video and subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Take care.